Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be ranking all 21 of Ash Ketchum's rivals from the Pokemon anime. This is my opinion based on how much I enjoyed the rival and based on how the development of the rivalry went. Sun and Moon made it hard to define what a rival was. Kiawe wasn't on this list because he is part of the main group. Also Kukui wasn't included because he was more of a father figure to Ash. And Guzma wasn't included because he was an evil team boss and not really a rival. Although all three of these probably could have passed for rivals. 21 is Trevor. Trevor is one of these characters in X and Y that really got overshadowed by Ash's other rivals. He was never really interesting to me. I thought he was the weakest of the three rivals they introduced in the summer camp. He had a good battle with Elaine at the Pokemon League, putting Mega Charizard X on Mega Charizard Y, but he got annihilated by Elaine, and this battle was more a flex of how good Elaine was, not really adding development for Trevor. I don't hate Trevor, but he is far by the least memorable of Ash's rivals. Number 20 is Bianca. I always saw Bianca more of a friend than Ash's rival, but she technically is a rival as they both competed in the league and the gym battles. She was a very clumsy, excitable trainer who always seemed more interested in catching cute Pokemon rather than Pokemon that would be powerful in battle. But despite this, she held her own in many occasions. She managed to win 2 badges with a Pignite before she even met Ash. She had a conflict with her father who didn't think she was ready to go out on a Pokemon journey, just like in the games, but Ash helped to resolve the situation with a Pokemon battle. Bianca is by no means a bad character, but I just don't see her as a major rival for Ash. Number 19 is Tierno, the second rival from the summer camp trio of X and Y. I enjoyed Tierno's character just slightly more than Trevor's. I thought the way he used his Pokemon's movement while dancing to avoid the attacks was very unique. It gave Ash a bit of a challenge and also helped in future battles. He had some cool Pokemon on his team, most notably his Blastoise and his Ludicolo, who both suited his very unique dancing style. 18. Cameron, one of the most frustrating of Ash's rivals. I didn't really mind his personality at first. It was different having a trainer competing in the league who just didn't know what he was doing. He thought that he needed 7 badges to compete, and then he thought he just needed 5 Pokemon for a full 6-on-6 battle. It made him different. But the fact that he defeated Ash despite having 5 Pokemon against Ash's 6, also having his Riolu evolve mid-battle into a powerful Lucario, it made his character seem like a giant roadblock for Ash. He was introduced last minute to defeat Ash at the league, much like Tobias in the Sinnoh League, but at least Tobias was actually worthy of beating Ash. Number 17 is Virgil, another one of Ash's rivals in the Unova League. This is nothing against Virgil himself. I thought he was one of the coolest characters introduced in Black and White. He was part of a Pokemon rescue team with his brothers. You could tell he really cared about helping Pokemon. He had a full team of Evolutions, which was something we'd never seen before. And he won the Unova League with them. Why is he so low? Because he should have battled Ash, and Ash should have defeated Cameron and went on to lose to Virgil. It was so confusing why the league was cut so short. I would love to see Virgil return with a Sylveon, and maybe we can finally get a battle between him and Ash. Number 16, Tobias. I wasn't too sure where to put Tobias. He could have been bottom of the list, but I think I liked this character more than a lot of people did. I remember watching the episodes weekly when he was introduced, and he was teased at the start of the league as a mysterious trainer who only used a Darkrai, and it seemed so cool at the time. He had gone through all 8 gyms and the Pokemon League with only his Darkrai, until he came up against Ash. Ash managed to take down his Darkrai in an awesome battle using some of his old Pokemon, and then the guy sends out a Latios and shocks us all. I'm not sure how he was let into the competition. Number 15 is Trip. When we were first introduced to Trip, I just thought he was a lame rip-off of Paul. He looked down on Ash, called everything basic, and constantly mocked him. Also, the fact that he managed to defeat Ash with Pikachu and his level 5 Snivy just made it worse. It gave this guy even more confidence and made him see Ash as a worthless rival. The first couple of seasons, I just didn't like his character. The writers were so badly trying to recreate the drama of Ash and Paul, and it just didn't work. He got a little better towards the end, where he won the Junior Cup, and he finally got his chance to battle older, and then he gets crushed and learns a good lesson about battling. And then in the league, Ash manages to finally defeat him in a one-on-one battle in the first round. Pikachu finally gets his revenge for that early defeat, and this made things a little bit better, but still overall, not the best of rivalries. Number 14 is Nando. Nando was a very different rival. He was both Ash's and Dawn's rival. We first met him early on in Diamond and Pearl, and he wasn't quite sure what he wanted to be, a Pokemon trainer or a Pokemon coordinator. Ash and Dawn helped him make his mind up. and make him decide he wanted to do both. The fact he manages to gather 8 badges and 5 ribbons all at the same time that Dawn and Ash are both doing this was a massive example of his skill and his versatility. But because he split rivalries between both Dawn and Ash, it means the rivalry with Ash didn't get his full attention, and therefore it isn't that high on the list. Number 13 is Tyson. Tyson actually won the Hoenn League, which is quite shocking to think because we didn't really see much of him. He was one of them rivals that was introduced right as the league is about to begin. Similar to Harrison and Virgil, his main attribute was the relationship he had with his Meowth, similar to Ash's Pikachu. Meowth hadn't evolved, and it was Tyson's main Pokemon. It had a lot of backstory, and its hatred towards Persians made it an interesting Pokemon. It also wears boots and a hat, so it stands out to any regular Pokemon, and it reminds me of Puss in Boots from Shrek. Tyson's team was also very strong, including a Metagross and a Sceptile. His battle with Ash was good, and he probably deserved to win looking at both of their teams. Number 12 is Conway. Conway was always a very creepy character. He seemed to pop up at awkward moments and creep Dawn out, and it was a shock to me when he arrived at the Sinnoh League because we had no idea that he would be competing. Him and Ash's battle was great. Conway used his scheming ways to find out Ash's Pokemon before the battle, but Ash switched it up last minute. Conway also used Trick Room, something that Ash had never faced before, but Ash managed to pull through with the final efforts of his Gibble to beat Conway. The battle really made Conway a unique rival. Number 11 is Morrison. I really liked Morrison's personality. He was like the same person as Ash. They were competitive in every single thing they did, and when they were around each other they got 100% times worse. He had some interesting development, then he finally got put up against Ash in the league, and he struggled to face him because they had become such close friends, and I really loved this. Morrison could have been way higher up if he just appeared throughout the Hoenn series. He only appeared once before the league, and that was a massive disappointment. Rivals need episodes and time to grow and develop. Number 10 is Stefan. The highest rival in Unova is Stefan. He reminds me a lot of Morrison, a strong-natured rival who loves to be the best. He was one of the smallest rivals in Unova, but his characteristics and personality made him better than the rest. I feel like if they pushed the rivalry a bit more and didn't add in Cameron, this could have been even higher. It was also funny how everyone mispronounced his name.
So come on, let's really hear it for Stefan and Saw! Wrong! My name is Stefan! But I'm good.
Number 9 is Harrison. Harrison begun the trope of introducing a strong rival just before the league. Also, to make this even better, he was from a brand new region, the Hoenn region, and he had a fully evolved Blaziken as his ace. This automatically bumped him up and made him so much better. The final battle between Ash's Charizard and Harrison's Blaziken is one to remember, and Ash nearly won. I was surprised that Harrison didn't win the league in the end, but he was still a pretty tough rival. Number 8 is Richie. Richie was introduced into the Indigo League. He was pretty much a carbon copy of Ash. He had similar Pokemon, similar personality, and they both cared so much about Pokemon. They built up such a strong friendship, and when they found out they was facing each other, it was hard for them both. The battle between them was awful though. Team Rocket stopped Ash from getting there on time and made him tire out his Pokemon, and then of course Charizard wouldn't listen to Ash, which cost him the match. I'm glad we got to see Richie again in Johto, and he wasn't just a one-off, one-and-done rival like the others were, but I wish we could have seen a proper battle between Ash and Richie. Number 7 is Barry. I loved Barry's explosive personality. Every time he would bump into Ash and threaten to fine him. He wasn't just all talk either, he was a great battler. The fact that Ash had his main rival in Sinnoh, Paul, and still had Barry as a smaller rival just shows how good Diamond and Pearl series was with all these characters. Barry was not just a rival to Ash but also a friend. They had many adventures together such as the Iron Islands and the Ping Pong tournament. I just overall loved Barry's character. Number 6 is Hal. Hal got introduced quite late on in the Sun and Moon series, and the episode was really good. It set up a rivalry between him and Ash, but also his Decidueye and Ash's Rowlet. But then he disappeared. We didn't see him again until the league started, which was annoying. But despite this, he was great in the league. Ash came up against him in the top 8, and we all know what happened. We thought Ash had lost, but no, it was just Rowlet sleeping. And Rowlet had a fantastic come from behind win to defeat Decidueye, and it wrapped up a pretty decent rivalry between the two. Number 5 is Sawyer. In X and Y, Ash was a real powerhouse and a role model for Sawyer. Also, if you couldn't tell, he was from the Hoenn region. He was dressed in green and made to look like his Trico. I have a bias towards the Hoenn region, so I love Sawyer. XY managed to have a better Hoenn rival than Hoenn series itself. Sawyer really looked up to Ash, he wanted to learn from him, he took notes, he lost a few battles to Ash but he grew as a trainer eventually and managed to defeat him. The rivalry was settled in the Kalos League semi-finals, which put Sawyer's Mega Sceptile up against Ash's ash-greninja. It was an awesome ending to the rivalry and is still one of my favourites. Number 4 is Alain. Alain was introduced through the Mega Evolution specials and eventually crossed on to the normal anime. And yet another trainer who is designed to look like his ace Pokemon, with the scarf looking like the Mega Charizard's flames. The design was awesome and his character as a whole was too. His rivalry was topped off at the Kalos League final, a battle every Pokemon fan remembers clearly. Ash-Greninja took on Alain's Mega Charizard X and got defeated, to annoyance of so many people, as Ash lost yet another league. I wasn't mad about Ash losing because I feel Alain was really a worthy rival. He took down a lot of strong Pokemon, including an Elite Four member, so it was a deserved win. What annoys me the most is that we never see him again. Pokemon always introduce such cool rivals and we never see them again. Bring back Alain, bring back Paul, and bring back Sawyer. Number 3 is Gladion. Gladion was introduced to us early in the Sun and Moon series, which really helped his development. He also appeared quite regular as he's related to Lily, who is a main character. At first he had quite a cold personality, didn't really open up to anyone, but after time he grew to like Ash and his friends. He became friends with all of them. We started seeing him pop up a lot more. Ash and Gladion would usually battle each other if they saw one another, and it would usually end up with Gladion winning or it being interrupted, until the final match of the Alola League came around, and Ash takes the victory with his Lycanroc beating Gladions with one last counter attack. It was a great finish to the Alola League, an amazing rivalry. Ash finally won the league as well against this guy, so he has to be one of Ash's top rivals. Number 2 is Gary Oak, the first ever rival Ash had. From day one this guy was a jerk. He would gloat in Ash's face, tell him he's not good enough and that he should have stayed back in Pallet Town. But Ash didn't listen. Ash stayed determined, eventually making friends with Gary. Gary's development took a while, but in the end it paid off. He was really humbled by his defeat at the Indigo League. He went on and trained, worked on himself, and he came back better for Johto. He also obtained an Umbreon, which is one of my favourite Pokemon of Gary's. The rivalry was all settled at the Johto League, where they faced off in the top 16. Ash finally won and got to prove to Gary that he shouldn't have stayed back in Pallet Town and he belonged competing with the best. And Gary respected him for it, for carrying on. Gary popped up again in the Diamond and Pearl series. He still had that confidence about him along with a brand new Electivire, and he managed to beat Ash in a battle once again. Still to this day, Ash and Gary have only battled 3 times, and Ash has lost 2 of them. Every new series I hope of seeing Gary return. Ash always returns to Pallet Town, but Gary never comes back. Ash is in Kanto right now, just please bring Gary back. Number 1 is Paul. The obvious choice, but there was no doubt about it. Paul was brought in right at the start of the Diamond and Pearl series. He got so much time for development, appearing in over 40 episodes of Diamond and Pearl. Ash would constantly lose to this guy. He would have no mercy, he would look down upon him. Every time he saw him it was just pure hatred towards Ash and his training style. Ash would not stand down. He strived to show Paul that his friendship towards his Pokemon would help them grow stronger, and the 2 training methods were different but they both worked. Ash rubbed off on Paul. At the start of the series, Paul would release all of his Pokemon and talk to them like dirt, but in the end he came to respect his Pokemon, even saying good job to his Electivire after losing. The rival was summed up through Chimchar. Mistreated and abandoned by Paul, Ash took Chimchar in and showed Chimchar examples of both of the training styles, and he thrived under Ash's training style, finally mastering his ability Blaze as an Infernape. The Diamond and Pearl series was so good, and most of it was down to Ash and Paul's rivalry, so how could it not be number 1? But that's my rankings. How do you rank Ash's rivals? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.